Welcome back, everybody, to a live show where I'm blaming Paul for my problems because he went out here yesterday to talk me off a ledge.
What happened? Is this the NAS thing?
Yeah, this is all your fault.
You're over engineering something. That's
Oh,
what I'm thinking.
absolutely. And
Yeah,
I've already put some of it back because it's going back to Best Buy.
yeah.
So here's what I'm trying to solve.
hmm
Right now, the way the workflow works is the podcast gets saved onto a computer
hmm
right over there. And then what I had been doing is uploading it to OneDrive, and then I
hmm
walk upstairs and I download it again. And that had
It's
been
okay.
working really well for I don't know how long we've been doing this.
Why don't you
3 years.
just copy it to the over the network?
We're getting there.
Okay.
And so and this is not just me. Other people have reported this. Something has happened with OneDrive in the past 3-4 weeks where my download speeds have been nerfed.
hmm
It used to download really, really fast. And so these files, for everybody's sanity, are
hmm
somewhere between a gig and a half, 2 gigs every episode.
It's pretty significant.
Yeah, so they're
Another,
not small files.
yeah, another reason why you should be using the network. But
Yeah. But it had been working because my internet connection here is really fast. I get 250
hmm
up and 500 down, something like that.
yeah,
So it was taking, no joke, 10 minutes to download the file from
hmm
OneDrive. So it worked. Like I would hit upload. By the time I got upstairs, it would already be uploaded. And then I would go up there and download the file. But now it's taking like 20 to 30 minutes to download a file
yeah.
from OneDrive of that size. And
Okay.
it's been doing this for 3 weeks, and I've checked everything on my end. I tweeted about it, and other people have seen similar things. I don't know. Something happened. Something changed. So the
Yep.
idea was I need to fix that, and I was going to just plug in a NAS. Sounds like my dog just like ripped something now. To the switch, right? And
Hopefully
then
not your
just
NAS.
dump the file on there, and then go upstairs and grab it.
hmm
And so I was going to build a NAS because I had an extra computer, which is way overkill for the project, but it's the backup podcast box that we use here. If
hmm
the HP Omen you sent me ever takes a dump, I can
hmm
pull it out and get back up and running in modest amount of time. So I get it all set up. And long story short, it's your fault because what I should have done initially was just share the network drive that this saves to
Yes, exactly.
is the right one. But the problem I'm having, which if anybody who is following me on Twitter saw this morning, which I just made that change last night,
hmm
is my inter-network transfer speed is like half a meg, and it like dies. Like it goes from like half
Oh,
a meg to zero, and then like bounces back up, and I can't figure out. I have updated the drivers on both the NIC cards for the HP Omen and my machine
yeah.
upstairs, so it's not that
Is this wired or wireless?
wired.
Oh, there's no reason for that.
No,
I mean, it should
there's
be
a
wired.
reason. What that reason is, and I blame you, Paul. I
Okay.
blame you. You
Yep.
cursed my
I keep
network.
waiting for the part where it is my fault, but go on.
It's somehow your fault. I haven't figured it
hmm
out yet. I don't. And so Greg says, "Is it a switch issue?" I don't think so because if I run like internet connectivity speed tests on both machines, they both come back at about 500, which is my internet connection.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's clearly, and the internet, for clarity's sake, goes into my router, which then connects into the switch. So there's no,
Yeah.
like 500 megs can go through it at a time, no problem. They're both gigabit. They're not 10 gig, but they're both gigabit
hmm
connectivities. Um,
No, I mean,
no,
even
they're
a
not
poor
bad
Ethernet
cables.
connection should still be pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a slow NAS. It's like a NAS. It's
Hmm.
a WD. It's based on some, I'm sure, Linux
Yeah.
microkernel thing, but um, even that's great. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
this is a terrible idea, but you could save it to a USB hard drive and pop the drive, just bring it upstairs with you, bring it down. I don't know.
with the OneDrive
I
thing
know.
is easier. I mean, it takes longer now currently, but I really want to figure out what this is, and I
But just copying it over the network between two network shares on PC should be faster than up to OneDrive down from OneDrive.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it should, in theory, run at least probably 100 megs.
I wonder
Somewhere.
if you're running into an issue on OneDrive specifically because you are transferring such big files on a regular basis, and maybe they're, your
It wouldn't
account has been
surprise. I mean,
flagged.
it was
You know,
Monday through Friday, a minimum of 2 gigs up, 2 gigs
yeah,
down.
because it's just pointless bandwidth from their perspective. You
Mhm.
know,
So, uh, yeah.
I don't think you need a NAS. I think the network share thing is
Right, but the idea was a NAS just because I was playing around with it. I was like, I can do this for $200. Let's just see if it works. But this, I was having
well,
the same problem. As
it's
I
like
got the NAS up and
I'm
running.
going to go to Europe, so I'm going to build a plane. It's like they
I wasn't
solved
looking
this
for
problem.
judgment. I was looking for help. You should know by now. I do this just to.
No, I do. That's
just
why.
for
That's
my
why I
own
said I
torments.
know whatever your problem is, it's something you've overthought and
Oh yeah,
over-engineered a solution to.
I don't need an NAS. Let me be very
Yeah,
clear.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I like the idea of having. I bought two 1 terabyte SSDs and I loaded FreeNAS on it and it got up and running. But the problem is that machine was having the same very slow connectivity as the one upstairs. So it's not.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know if it's in the Switch, but that doesn't make any sense because other things go through. Like I play Xbox connected to the Switch,
Yeah.
and I have no
Right.
issues.
Right.
It's only between
I
two
do-
machines, and I have.
I do most stuff like wireless, and it's fine. And I don't have a particularly. I mean, I don't have much in the way of Ethernet in this house, but I don't know that I have a particularly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that should just work.
Yeah.
It sounds like it might be. Well, no, but you're having. Yeah, this is hard to understand because you're having good results elsewhere.
Yeah, and so what's really perplexing here is I was going to do this right before the show. I'm like, nothing worse than tinkering with your network before you stream a podcast to the internet, mind
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
There's ways you can force like half duplex and full duplex, and people are thinking maybe I have disconnect there. But the thing that is really baffling to me is when I took the backup podcast box and put FreeNAS on it, it still was getting the terrible.
You just like to spend time on stuff.
I do.
You put free NAS on it.
Well, it's free.
It's free and it has the word NAS. No, I get it. I can see where that your mind would have gone in that direction.
Well, at least I didn't spend money on like NAS software. I almost bought Unraid just to see if I could get that to work, but clearly they're.
Yeah.
But talking
No, you got to
about
solve this. This is.
yeah.
I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to imagine how I would. Generally speaking, when I've had network problems, if it's at first what it sounded like was something physical, and depending on how your network was wired, if it was done professionally, or if you did it or something, it literally could be something as simple as bad crimp somewhere or something. But the more you talk, the more it sounds like it's very particular, because you're seeing good results elsewhere, and that makes it really hard to understand.
I'm wondering, like talking out loud now, like it sounds like it's got to be something in the router switch configuration.
Do you have other types of computers you could? Do you have like a Mac you could test this on, or I'm just it's no. I mean, no, seriously.
A reliable
I mean,
PC somewhere.
no, I don't mean it like that. I mean, just something to change a variable to see
Oh, I want to try it on this one to see
what it could be. Yeah. I mean,
Network
even just
discovery.
different computers. Yeah, but share your desktop or something, and then transfer files between just different computers, just to see what happens.
Sharing options. How do I need to turn on Discover.
I don't mean literally do it right now during the show, but I mean, but I mean that's fine. I don't transfer files that big, so I think maybe this is something I would notice in that circumstance, because I do transfer stuff really regularly between computers, and I don't really have this issue.
All right, so Brad desktop, I think, is that machine over there. Oh, that's just for. Well, that's even more odd. Wow. I can see that the computer that we're podcasting from, but I can't see the folder that I can see when I'm upstairs.
Yep. This is another wonderful little bit of Windows networking esoterica that happens a lot. I do see that a lot. I will say, for whatever reason, like I took two computers to the Netherlands, and one of the things that I did, and one of the reasons I had to, was I had one set up with a secondary account that I use for the book. It's configured the desktop like it's configured on my second computer over here, and I can take screenshots on it, which would save to the desktop of the computer I was writing on, which was the Surface Book 2. And that requires the network to be up and running and working, and the machines be able to see each other and whatever. And it was working fine there, which is like really unusual. I expected to have all kinds of problems. again, I hate to even try to troubleshoot this live, but one thing you should do on your computer because you saw the computer but not the share.
The shared folder that.
Yeah. So did you do that by typing in the machine name, or did you actually go into the network?
I just went into the network discoverability things.
And it actually saw. Okay, and you didn't get any flags there.
Nope.
Okay.
Well, I don't even see the PC, so that's.
Oh well, that's actually okay, but that might be.
Let me explain. I can see. So I turned on media sharing on that machine, and I also shared the folder that this video is actively being saved into right now.
Yeah, don't do that. So, this isn't the time for this, but let's talk about this offline, because what you really want to do is use the old advanced sharing interface and just turn on. I'll explain to you later. There's been a lot of work in Windows over the years to make network sharing easier. All of it is garbage. They just got rid of the latest thing called Home Share, something was. It's actually best to go back and use the old-fashioned, probably dating back to NT or Windows 2000 days, advanced sharing. And I'll talk to you about. Let's just talk about that offline. But we can make this work.
Yeah. All right.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that you no longer own, well, I guess you own the previous.
Oh no,
gen.
I have a 3A XL.
Oh, 3A. The Pixel 4, which continues to leak out, is going to apparently have a 90 hertz display, and if history is going to repeat itself, expect Google to probably confirm that next week, as they've done with the previous leaks.
Yep. I will say one of the best things about the OnePlus 7 Pro is the high-speed display. So that's kind of interesting, and certainly Google has had their issues with displays in the past. You may recall I think it was the Pixel 2 XL that you couldn't see outside in broad daylight. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm
just logging into my router, definitely not doing. Oh, I don't have IPv6 enabled. I wonder if that.
No, that's not it.
Oh, maybe I don't have enable hardware NAT accelerate throughput for wired stations.
This is in your router for settings. Interesting. Okay, what kind of router is it?
It's made by Ubiquiti, but it's their consumer line, the Amplify HD.
Okay.
So maybe,
what am I doing? I can't.
Well, I better be careful, because if I hit enable and hit save and continue, it might reboot the router, which would be detrimental to.
Or at least just flash the connection or something and then screw up the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So we got that. Curious on your take on the whole. Well, you obviously ordered one. The whole Samsung partnership here. I'm convinced that the Note 10 is the Surface phone that we're never going to get. I mean, that's...
Yeah. I actually... Yeah. So, I got to say, I don't know if you watch all of these Samsung events as they've... over time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Samsung has thrown up some unbelievable airballs when it comes to some of their shows. Like, remember that they did like a Broadway song and dance thing a couple years ago? It was crazy bad. I thought this show was tight and lucid, and it was just to the point, and they really highlighted something that I think speaks to what you were just saying, which was just pushing the kind of productivity nature of this thing.
Yep.
It was like it was a Microsoft phone, and even before they said we knew that Microsoft was going to be part of it, but even before they said Microsoft, I was thinking to myself, man, this is like, if they were doing, this is how they would do it, and obviously there was a bunch of Microsoft stuff at the show, but I think the real thing, just the fact that Satya Nadella showed up and said literally 5 minutes of nothing, but showed up in person, tells me that this might literally be the start of something, that this is not as far as it goes, and the thing that's peculiar to Samsung in the Android space is that they are the one company very actively working to remove Google software from their system. Well, they can't really remove it, but they're replacing it, right?
They definitely have a common enemy. They really do.
Yes. And there are things that are on Samsung phones that Microsoft makes versions of that are much better than Samsung's. And I always think to myself, now I'm thinking to myself, I should say, since I watch this, like where could this thing go next? Because it's hard not to imagine. Like, why does Samsung maintain yet another internet browser? Why does Samsung have their own email application? Why does Samsung have their own calendar? Why do they have their own keyboard? Why do they, kind of on and it goes. There's a bunch of stuff that Microsoft could plug into here, and it would kind of benefit both companies, I think, in a major way. Yeah. So the beginning stuff is very interesting. I don't think that everything that Microsoft showed off was Samsung exclusive, right? It's hard to imagine that phone calling is something that won't be part
Right.
of your phone for everybody or whatever. But having Microsoft stuff on the phone from the beginning, that thing with the shade where you can connect to your phone immediately without having
Yep.
to go through all the stupid back and forth, if you've ever done it, is how silly it is. It's very interesting. So yeah, I think you're making a good point there. This is the first step, I think, toward that.
Yeah, I mean, it hits all the boxes for. I'm looking at that device and thinking, what could Microsoft add that would make it a Surface phone? I mean, it has a pen, which Microsoft has an obsession with inking. It has an edge-to-edge display. It's high-quality hardware. It's high-quality specs. I don't think it would be extremely hard for Microsoft to come out and build something that is better than that Note 10.
Oh, it's not. That's not possible.
Yeah, I don't know what they could
It's not
do.
possible.
Except
I mean,
maybe
they
sell it
obviously-
for $100, but
Right. Yeah, and they even announced at the show, at the event, that you could buy this thing from the Microsoft store. They actually said that.
Yep.
You understand that this thing is available from every retailer on earth, right? It's every wireless carrier, and they called out the Microsoft store. Interesting.
Yep.
You know.
I was wondering if they were going to do some sort of like exclusive color. Like they should give Microsoft a blue one. That's the only thing you can get.
That's not a bad idea. Also, they could allow Microsoft to pre-install stuff on it that's not on the other ones. That would be kind of interesting.
They better not
although
be
that
doing
might-
that thing where you buy it there and then they open it up and molest your device and then hand it over to you.
Well, no, I mean, I think the stuff they were talking about is going to be on all the phones, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, no, it will be.
there'll be some handful of Microsoft apps and services on there by default. But what if they replace in the future? I'm talking. What if they replace the search engine with Bing?
Yeah.
I mean, why? A year ago, if you go back and look at the Note 9 show they did last August, they talked about Bixby incessantly. I don't think they said the word Bixby once at this show. Now, I don't believe that Cortana is in any better shape than Bixby or whatever, but there's maybe, I just find I guess I'm excited by what I saw. And by the way, I thought it was a good show for whatever that's worth. Really tight, hour and 15 minute. Like I said, bing, bing, bing. I really liked the way they did it. Even some of those kind of millennial creator types that would normally really annoy me, I thought were actually pretty well spoken. And regardless of what you think they may do for a living, they highlighted some of it's just stupid, but they highlighted some. They've obviously made a great career out of it. They highlighted some really neat phone features, right? And it wasn't just superfluous nonsense necessarily. It was kind of interesting.
Did you actually see what they did do with Bixby though, with the power button?
Yeah.
That's
Well, but remember, on previous phones, they actually put an extra button on there just for Bixby, and everyone hated it. There was so much of a complaint, and so it's like a long press now, right?
yeah.
On the power
Well,
button.
so based on some of they as Samsung always does, they give a couple people devices, and then basically when the show starts, the embargo lifts for those people. I believe one of them said, and I didn't care to look deeper, that power button turns the screen on but doesn't turn it off. Like there's actually a software.
Oh, I didn't know about that. That's fine.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if that's actually true, because if that is, then they're gonna get massive fake engagement, much like calling searching on Windows Cortana engagement. By people trying to
but
turn
you
the
know
phone
what?
off.
They can use that. See, the only reason you would tout a figure like that is because you're trying to get the public excited about it, right? But like even when Microsoft was doing that internally, what they understand is that this is nonsense, and so it doesn't. It's really a promotional tool because they want developers and users and everyone to kind of latch onto the platform. But internally, what they understand is like this is nonsense. Like this is like a misclick. It's like the that infamous Steven Sinofsky thing from years ago where he said, only 0.1% of users ever launched Media Center and 90% of them were misclicks, and then they disclosed it immediately. That kind of thing. You could use that figure to say, well, that means millions of people used it, whatever. But I mean, they understand that that's not a good number.
Yep.
We'll see. I think
When
this
does
thing
your
looks
device
interesting.
show up?
Whatever the day, that's 23rd, maybe 22nd, 23rd, something like that. It's a cool color. They have those kind of aura colors,
Which one did you get? The pink one? Is there even a pink one?
No, I think no. It's kind of it's a light color, but I guess it shifts colors, as you kind of move it around. And then there was like some kind of a credit for cases, so I got a case for free.
So who'd you do like? How'd you get this? What'd you do with your
Through
who'd you
Samsung.
sell your Pixel to?
Samsung. So
Oh.
a couple of weeks ago, Samsung put up a pre-order. It was like it was before the pre-order. I don't know what you call that, a pre-order. But they basically were saying, hey, for certain classes of devices. So actually, your phone, for example, your iPhone 10s would also qualify for a $600 trade-in. If you have a 10s, so you couldn't trade it in today because it's the newest phone. But next month, I guess, when the new iPhones come out, you'll be able to find out how much you can get on trade if you want to trade that in. I'm guessing it's not going to be $600. That's a lot of money. But for my phone in particular, like the 3XL is $600. The if you have a Note 9, a Samsung Galaxy S, I want to say 9 or 10, you can get $600, right? A Google Pixel 3, which is the cheaper, the smaller one, is also worth $600.
How much
But
is
I
that
happen
phone
to-
outright?
It's like $600. Like it's like you could literally buy a Pixel 3 right now for $600. Tell Samsung you're going to trade it in for $600. Use the Pixel 3 for free until the Samsung arrives, and then just send it to Samsung. I mean, if you wanted to, but in my case, my phone would have cost, I think it was like $960, $980, somewhere in there, but it was like half off. So I got it like for $480. So I was going to trade this thing in for the Pixel 4, thinking, it would be a decent trade. So even if I spent almost $500 on it and they offered me $400 on trade, I still had the thing for the half year. So like, who cares? It's, it's fine. It's there if I need it. But like, they're going to give me like $120 more than I paid for it. So it's basically
It's not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal at all.
Like $350 for the phone.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to space out the payments for 2 years, it's like $15 a month.
Wow.
I mean, that's the price of Spotify Premium or whatever, family or whatever.
Not
I
bad.
mean, I might as well try it. Plus, it's got all the Microsoft stuff going on now, which is kind of interesting. So,
Yeah, I mean, if I were to go buy an iPhone, an Android phone, it would be that one. Like, there's not even really a question for me. That would be the one I would go buy.
yeah. Yeah, and they have the smaller size now. You don't have to get this thing that's the size of an iPad mini. No, I think it's like basically the same size as an S10 Plus, roughly speaking.
Okay.
But it has the pen.
Yep.
And the design is slightly different. It's kind of more squared off, like the Note type slab design, which I kind of like. I think it's kind of masculine looking.
Which is unusual for your phone purchase.
Well, but then
history.
you turn it over and it's all cut, a kaleidoscope of colors. So then it's okay.
Well, neat. And how was your trip home?
It was fine. It was just long, both going into Amsterdam and leaving, we had like the cleanest like customs and security experience like of all time. Like we showed up at the airport, there was no line of security. They have the most unbelievable organized system for doing this. They have bins that kind of pop out automatically for all your stuff. They were like, don't take anything out of the bags, just go right through. It was like nothing, And then it was like the end of times in JFK customs, but you should see this place. It's like a hellhole. But I was like, we're gonna be down here for like an hour and a half. But it actually only took about it was like maybe 20, 25 minutes. It seemed like a freaking eternity, but it was actually pretty good. And then I was hoping midday drive home, it'd be quick, but as it turns out, that place is also always a hellhole. It doesn't matter what time it is. So it was easily 3 hours before we got home. But it was fine. It was like 16 hours door to door,
That's a long.
It's a long day. It's suffice to say I passed out on the couch. It was,
Paul got home yesterday and was like, nope, no. They were just playing some Call of Duty. There was posts.
Oh, no, I didn't even do that. I think I said, I don't remember what I said exactly, but I had written on the plane.
Oh, yep.
And I was in no shape to publish this because it was the Java thing. And I wanted to make sure that it was just a little too technical for my mindset at the time. I was just too tired, but I'll be okay.
Good. I'm happy you're back, I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
The drugs I planted never clearly didn't get picked up.
There was a mysterious pill sitting here on my desk, actually. I took it.
You got to live a little. You got to live a little. All right. You got anything else for today?
No, I'm hoping that's it for today. I guess we'll see what happens, but
Fun.
I don't.
I'm going to hang up this call, and I'm going to. Is there any reason I should not enable IPv6? Maybe I won't do that one. I'm going to definitely.
I'm actually surprised. This is you're talking about this is in your router.
Mm-hmm.
IPv6 is enabled by default in Windows 10, but of course it won't use it if it's not available. I don't think that's the cause of your performance problems.
No, but I'm definitely going to do enable hardware NAT.
Yep, I would try that. But if you want to ask me if you want me to talk you through the advanced thing, I actually think that's the simplest and most direct way for network sharing. And
It sounds like a lot more fun on a Monday morning than a Friday afternoon.
okay,
Really,
It's
what's
up to
going to
you.
happen is I'm going to dick around with this all weekend, and then you're going to be
Sure.
like, I'll just do that, and it'll fix it. And I'm like,
then you're like, I spent $2,000 on a NAS.
but it comes in a nice rack. It's a solid
Yep.
state array.
It has blinking lights.
And sometimes they're blue instead of just green and yellow. All right. That wraps it up for today, everybody. We'll catch all of you right back here next time on another edition of First Ring Daily.